All right, so here I have the stock chart for Papa John's Pizza. We know that there's a bullish engulfing pattern here that just occurred. So we have a big bullish candle following a small bearish candle, and we want to see if we can detect that pattern with a Python program. So in plain language, we need to translate this visualization into a few Python if conditions. So we need to check first if the current candlestick is bullish and the previous candlestick is bearish. And we need to check if the current candlestick's close is above the previous candlestick's open, and the current candlestick's open is below the previous candlestick's close. So let's go ahead and first download the historical price data for Papa John's Pizza. All right, I have an empty folder here called Candlestick Patterns, and I'm going to commit the source code to GitHub a little bit later after we're done. So I'll just create a new script called pizza.py, and I'm going to write a script that downloads the historical price data for Papa John's Pizza. So if you remember in the previous video, we used a Yahoo Finance package. It's called yfinance in Python. So I already have it, but if you don't, you can pip install yfinance to get this package, and it just lets you easily download closing price data for a particular stock ticker. So I'm going to use that real quick, and I'll show you how to get a pandas data frame, and you can also dump that to a CSV. So I'm going to save the price data for Papa John's to a CSV so that we can reference it later. So I can import yfinance as yf, just like we did in the last series of videos. And then we're going to do pizza equals yf.ticker, and then we just give it the ticker symbol. And so then we'll have this ticker object, and then we can do data frame equals pizza dot history. And so this is the history method on that ticker, and that'll give us a pandas data frame containing that history. And then we'll do period equals 1 year. And if you need a quick reference, you can just Google for yfinance and then click on this Python package, and this will show you all the different methods and options you have available as parameters. You can see there's different periods you can pass. I'm using 1 year just because we're going to analyze 1 year price history, and that'll give us our data frame. So we have this pandas data frame that it returns, but also there's a toCSV method, so we can use that to save this to a CSV. So we'll just do toCSV. I'm just going to print that on the screen to show you what that looks like. So I'll do Python 3 pizza pie, and you'll see it prints out a CSV file of all of our information, and we can just copy this over to a file. So I can just redirect this output to pizza.csv, and then you'll see I'll have a pizza CSV. It has the date, the open, the high, the low, the close, and I'll just verify that this is exactly what we want. I can delete a couple lines. So we have 250 plus days that the market was open, so we have lots of price data now. And so the next step is to just go through these in sequence and look at the opening and closing prices and compare them to the previous row to see what kind of candlestick pattern that we have. So let's start a new file called pizza pattern.py, and let's see if we can go ahead and detect these patterns. Okay, so what we're going to do is open the file. So in Python, we can just do with open pizza.csv as f, so that'll just be the file, and then we can do reader equals, and we're going to parse a CSV file here. So there's a variety of ways to do that with like splitting the string, but also there's a CSV package that we use frequently. So I'll import CSV, and then I'll do csv.dict reader, and then we'll give it the file. And so that reads each line into a dictionary so that we can easily reference the opening, closing, and the high and low price and the date. So we have this reader that reads in a dictionary, and then we're going to, let's just print that out just to see what that looks like. So I'll do that. 3, we have pizza pattern. So we have this dict reader object. And so now we want to go further, and so we'll do candles equals list reader. So we'll convert this reader to a list, and then we can iterate over that candle by candle. So I'll do for I in range 1 to length of candles, so the number of candles. We can just print, let's print what that looks like now. So we'll do candles I. So we're iterating over this list, and I forgot a colon there. So I'm printing over this list, and you see we just have a bunch of ordered dictionaries in a list here, and then we have these keys for our dictionary for date, open, high, low, close, and so forth. So we're going to go over the sequence and compare each item in the list to the previous item in the list and see what we can do. So rather than printing this, we're going to just check each candle to see if it's an engulfing pattern. So let's write a general function here called is bullish engulfing. Okay, and what it's going to take is a list of candles and an index that we're on, and I'll just do pass for now. And then in this, when we're iterating over the list, we can just say if is bullish engulfing, and then we're going to pass it the candles and then the current item that we're on. And you see I started at 1 instead of 0 because the first day in the list doesn't have a previous day, so there's no numbers, there's no candlesticks. We need 2 candlesticks in order to detect a pattern. So I'm going to start at 1 and then go to the end of the candlestick list. And so if it is bullish engulfing, we can print, it is a bullish engulfing. Okay. So now what we need to do is fill in this function to check whether it's a bullish engulfing pattern. So I'm going to take away the pass, and then let's decide what we need. So the current day, so we need the current day and the previous day's price action. So what we can do is get candles, and then I'll call this index. So the current day is the index that we're on, and the previous day is the candles index -1. And so we can compare, like, for instance, the last item in the list to the previous item in the list. Okay. And so according to our algorithm, we need it to be the previous day needs to be a bearish candlestick, and the current day needs to match some conditions relative to the previous day. So let's write the first condition. So let's check if the previous day is a bearish candlestick. So to do that, let's go ahead and make another function here, is bearish candlestick, and that'll just take a candle. And then how do we know if it's a bearish candlestick? Well, we'll just return if the closing price is less than the opening price, right? So if it closed lower than open, we know it's bearish. So we can do if is bearish candlestick. Okay, and then we'll check the previous day. So if that's true, and then what do we do to check if the current day, check if it's a bullish engulfing candlestick? So if we look back at our graphic here, you see this is the bullish engulfing pattern, and so we need to check if the current day's close is greater than the previous day's open, and then we also need to check if the current day's open is less than the previous day's close. So we already checked if the previous day is a bearish engulfing candle, so let's fill in the other part. If bearish candlestick previous day and the current day's close, right, is greater than the previous day's open, and the current day's open, okay, is less than the previous day's close, then we can return true. And then if it gets past this, we can just return false because it's not. Okay, so we're iterating over all of the items, and there's more ways to do this. We could technically just use the pandas data frame, and there's different ways to slice and dice that data without iterating over the whole list, but this is going to be fast enough for our purposes, so we're just going to implement it in a very primitive fashion. And so let's see if we can tell it what days are bullish and bearish engulfings. So let's do a placeholder here, is a bullish engulfing, and then we'll do dot format, and then we'll do candles I, and the date. And I'm hoping this will print out the dates where there's a bullish engulfing candle. So I'll do pizza pattern again. This says previous day is not defined, so that's just a typo. Previous day. I'll do it again. Okay, great. And so you see we've iterated through the different days here, and it tells us which days are bullish engulfing. So you see it detected correctly that January 3rd is a bullish engulfing. It also tells us November 27th, November 20th, and so forth. So we've iterated and printed out every single day that's a bullish engulfing candle, and it correctly detected January 3rd. And just to double check, let's look back at November 27th and November 20th to see if it correctly informed us of the bullish engulfing candles. So if we look back, I have the candlestick chart for Papa John's here, and let's go back, let's say 3 months, and look at it, and let's look back at November 27th, and that's it right there. You can see it. We have a big bullish engulfing candle here, and then also we can look back at November 20th, and you see there's a bullish engulfing candle here, and so it looks like our algorithm worked, and we're correctly able to detect bullish engulfing patterns. So that's great news.